Hi, I'm John Murphy, a member of Insight and Strategy team. And today I want to connect with you on the gap that exists between customer data and highly personalized customer experiences. And I'd like to show you how Insight has helped some of the world's leading brands close this gap to deliver amazing differentiated web experiences. Insighten is a global leader in providing privacy and web security solutions. So let's start by understanding the value of data today.
As a whistleblower. The reason why Google and Facebook are the most powerful companies in the world is because last year data surpassed oil in value. Data is the most valuable asset on earth.
Data is more valuable than oil. In our quest for the ultimate personalized customer experience, data is more valuable than oil. In an era when customers are becoming more conscious of the value of their data and how it's being used. The objective of this session is to discuss how to overcome the gap that exists today between data privacy and trust in order to collect and use data in amazing ways to deliver value to your customers. Here's the journey I'd like to take you through today. First, I want to level set on web experiences and how increasingly vital they have become to a company's success, no matter the industry. Next, I want to uncover important customer habits and feelings about sharing personal information and the trust they currently have with companies. This has changed as a result of the 2018 Facebook Cambridge Analytica saga. I'll then run through how trust can be a game changer regarding differentiated web experiences and business results, and then provide a four-step framework Insight's customers employ to build trust, to compel their customers to share more data, to fuel innovation of amazing customer experiences. So let's start with a quick look at web experiences and how important they are across all industries in a post-pandemic world. To no one's surprise, 88% of customers expect companies to accelerate digital initiatives due to COVID-19. Customer expectations regarding digital engagement has skyrocketed primarily due to safety and health concerns. But what about post-pandemic? A recent Salesforce.com connected customer study indicates that customer expectations of companies' digital capabilities have elevated. And this is across all demographic segments. Post-pandemic, customers expect to spend more time online, indicating that our collective habits have changed. Customers have also become more technically savvy, and this is across all demographic segments. Looking at online versus offline expectations in 2021 in comparison to 2020 and 2019, we see that there's a fairly dramatic shift, certainly between 2019 and 2020, but 2021 continues to favor online rather than offline. Online engagement is here to stay. And what that means is web experiences have become the heart of your business model. Referencing the same connected customer study, customer experience is as important, almost as important as the product or service being offered. Your digital experiences are difference makers with your customers. At least they can be. What do customers want? They want a personalized experience and a consistent experience across all touch points, across devices, domains, across digital and physical experiences. And this is really important because a majority, roughly 70% of customer experiences now span multiple channels between the start and end of the journey, often across devices and domains. So here's a snapshot of 3 companies that do amazingly well with personalization, and it makes a difference to the top and bottom line. Everyone is familiar with Amazon and how they personalize the shopping experience. This screenshot shows you a recommendation for me, actually, based on my family's browsing history. While someone other than me was browsing for comfy and cute slippers, I was browsing for plumbing tools. Based on that browsing history, Amazon made some helpful recommendations. Overall, this application of personalization contributes 30% more revenue to Amazon. Spotify is a music service that is amazing at recommending new music based on your listening habits. The service also allows you and your friends to share and create playlists. This personalized experience significantly enhances customer loyalty. Optimizely, as many of you probably know, is a web experience optimization platform. This is an example of how they personalize their web experiences for specific customers. This is an account-specific landing page for Adidas with messaging and graphics tailored to that specific account. Studies have proven that this approach to personalization can reduce customer acquisition costs by 50%. But the quest for personalized web experiences requires customer-specific data, and it requires customers' willingness and trust to provide and grant access to their personal data. And this is where we're going to turn to next, how customers feel about trust. Let's examine how customers feel about sharing personal information with companies. Last year, Gartner observed that customer dissatisfaction, erosion of trust, and privacy invasion were all extending into all interactions between customers and organizations. This is a major shift from a poll taken 5 years earlier by Gartner, and one of the primary catalysts to this change in trust is believed to be the 2018 Facebook Cambridge Analytica incident, where significant privacy violations occurred with 50 million Facebook users. This raised public awareness to and interest in privacy. Here's a quantitative look at where customers stand regarding trust. This is based on an Edelman Trust Barometer. 1 of every 2 of your customers have concerns about their customer experience, and their concerns boil down to the amount of personal data shared and required to drive personalization, the privacy of that data, and the use of technologies like AI to make inferences and to influence the customer journey. There's a number of concerns here, ranging from privacy to bias to discrimination. Customers are skeptical about the value they receive in exchange for the value of the data they provide. They believe there's significant room for improvement with companies, their intentions, and the value they return in exchange for data. There's also lack of understanding for how personal information is used. This is driving skepticism. There's an opportunity for companies, as you see here, to disclose intentions in a more complete and consumer-friendly way. And this lack of transparency leads to a lack of willingness to share personal information to drive personalization. 60% of customers want more control. They want more transparency. Now, there's also significant awareness about cybersecurity and the extent to which companies safeguard data against cyber attacks. These are feelings of there are feelings of significant vulnerability across demographic segments and across both B2C and B2B use cases. This is important because if customers don't trust their data will be protected, they will not interact with you. Now, cybersecurity is a tough balancing act when it comes to web experiences because third-party technologies and partners contribute so much to the customer journey. They also significantly complicate cybersecurity data breach prevention. Here's why. On the left-hand side, both the first-party code you develop as well as any third-party technologies your developers utilize are delivered to the browser to be processed and rendered whenever your customers visit your website or your web application. At the same time, your web experience also incorporates third-party partners depicted here on the right-hand side for advertising, analytics, payment processing, and other customer-enhancing features such as chatbots. All of this code, regardless of whether it's first or third or nth party, has full access to any user data being entered during the customer interaction. So, what are the implications of this? The web supply chain expands your attack surface. Any of these components, if corrupted, can steal customer data. These components also bypass your security controls. The code coming from your web supply chain hasn't been vetted. The developers haven't been vetted. And it's likely that the partner security controls haven't been vetted. So this is a blind spot. Hackers know this, and as they continually search for the least path of resistance, this leads them to target your web supply chain. This web supply chain data protection blind spot is how hackers stole personal and payment information from millions of Ticketmaster customers. Hackers injected a few lines of code into a customer support chatbot. This cost Ticketmaster at least $2 million in GDPR-related fines, not to mention recovery costs, legal fees, and loss of customers and customer revenue. The balancing act here is you rely on third parties to deliver an amazing customer experience, but this comes with risks you may not be aware of and definitely need to account for. So the net of all this to this point in our session is that there's a significant gap between your customers' trust in your ability to protect their data and the importance that your customers place on data privacy. Only 20% of customers trust organizations to maintain the privacy of their data, while almost 80% feel a company's ability to maintain the privacy of their data is extremely important. Now let's take a look at what's at stake when companies close the gap between trust on the one side and the importance of data privacy and protection on the other. Referring back to the Edelman Trust Barometer, organizations that have built trust with customers are rewarded in this way. Trusted companies more easily acquire new customers. They're able to retain them for longer. They benefit from advocacy, from word of mouth and referrals. Their customers stick with them through good times and bad, even when brand problems arise. To drive this home, here's more evidence that trust drives results. According to Salesforce's Connected Customer Research, trust increases loyalty, references, purchases, and willingness to share experiences with others. According to Gartner, as trust increases, customers are more willing to share personal information with you in exchange for better, more personalized experiences. Let's now examine what it takes to build trust. Trust starts with transparency. When seeking consent, explain how you are using the information and how customers will benefit from this use. Be very explicit when asking for permission. What kind of data are you asking for? How will you use it? Who will you share it with? Articulate how privacy and protection will be handled. Commit to your privacy and protection plan. Only share data your customer gave you permission to share, and only share this data with customer-approved partners. Protection of data against cyber criminals is also a key to building trust. If customers don't trust you to protect their data, they won't buy from you, period. No matter how great your products are, 75% of customers take this position. This chart is from an IBM Harris study of over 10,000 customers. Look at the second most important decision driver next to product quality. It's data protection from cyber attacks, and this is consistent globally. So this is where our journey concludes: how to bridge the gap between data privacy and trust. We started by discussing how personalized web experiences will drive more and more revenue and growth for companies across industries. With data, the key energy source, if you will, for personalization, we then discussed vulnerabilities that customers have and feel when sharing their personal information, and how this information is used by companies and how it is protected. Today, a gap exists between data privacy and trust, and the companies that address this gap are the ones that will differentiate digitally. Ensign's customers address this gap between data privacy and trust by taking measures in 4 areas. Let me conclude by summarizing these areas for you. Our customers build trust by taking stock and improving processes in the following areas. The first is transparency and control. Provide customers with more control of how their information gets used and a better understanding of where and how it's going to be shared and protected. The second area to build trust is making a privacy promise. Customers want assurances that their information is used according to their permission, to their consent. The third area is data protection. Customers will share their information and conduct business with companies that they know will put controls in place to protect their data. And the fourth area is delivering a customer experience that performs consistently and seamlessly throughout the journey and is insulated from frustrating disruptions. So let's take a closer look at these 4 steps and how customers bridge the gap between data privacy and trust. The first step is transparency and control. This is all about building the consent user experience into your customer experience. It's branded, easy to use, easy to understand. Be clear in the way you present the data elements you're capturing. As part of the consent process, communicate how you're going to use the data and the value that you're going to provide in return. That's really important. And communicate how you're going to share the data, with whom, and how you are prepared to only share with approved partners. Lastly, allow customers to easily change their consent preferences so that they're in control. Next is putting the processes and tools in place to deliver on your privacy promise. Take steps to enforce where the data goes and what type of data is shared with each approved partner. This step requires the ability to watch data as it leaves the browser and make sure it's only going to approved partners and it's only permissible data types that's being exchanged. If for a given user, you don't intend to share social security numbers, but you can share email addresses, you need to monitor and manage this exchange of information in real time on a user-by-user, partner-by-partner basis. Of course, you need to be able to comply with data regulations as well, such as GDPR and CCPA compliance, and you need the reporting to support that. The third step is putting measures in place to ensure protection of customer data. It is likely that you have a security model in place to address server-side cyber attacks, but you also need to address the blind spot that exists when your customers visit your website. We discussed several client-side data theft vulnerabilities that put customer data at risk. You need a client-side defense strategy that monitors incoming and outgoing web browser requests to give you full visibility into your web supply chain. You need to be able to establish your web supply chain perimeter that ensures data is only being exchanged with approved domains and blocked otherwise. And of course, reporting and alerting to drive detection, analysis, and compliance reporting. The fourth step is putting measures in place to deliver a consistent experience while addressing any technical issues that can arise in your web supply chain. Technical issues can be addressed by monitoring tag performance and temporarily disabling any tags that deviate from acceptable operation. Criminally motivated tactics such as ad injection or malvertising can also disrupt a journey. These tactics attempt to lure away your customers and steal your advertising revenue streams. You need to be able to detect and prevent these disruptions with a client-side monitoring and detection approach. Lastly, customers complete transactions and experiences across multiple devices and in many cases, multiple domains. The consent experience needs to support this cross-device, cross-domain experience without complicating the consent process to the point that the customer is alienated. With Insighten, our customers are taking these 4 steps to protect what their customers care about most and in turn build the trust they need to drive personalization, differentiated and profitable customer experiences. That concludes our session on how to bridge the gap between data privacy and trust, between customers' data and highly personalized customer experiences. Thank you for your time. I'm a member of the Insighten team, and we help 250 of the world's leading brands protect their customers' data and experiences. We protect over 3.5 billion page visits every month and have been solving client-side web security and privacy challenges for enterprises since 2009. To see the Insighten platform in action, I welcome you to visit our brief 15-minute session scheduled for March 16th at 4 p.m. Thank you.